Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. You're here with Mo.
And Andrea.
And today we want to talk to you about author Gabriel Garcia Marquez, time travel in literature and in life, and publishing posthumously. Plus, we have a top 10 video for you, so stay tuned at the end for that. But first, we really want to address the devastation that's hitting so close to home for us. Hurricane Harvey may have been downgraded to a tropical depression now, but the storm is still wreaking havoc for southeast Texas and Louisiana.
And the Texas literary community is one of many that has come together to aid victims. The Texas Library Association's Disaster Relief Fund is campaigning for donations. Other authors headlining the upcoming Texas Book Festival, such as Marie Lu, Lee Bardugo, Kevin Hearn, and many more are pledging matching donations for the campaign run by Global Giving Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund.
So far, they've been able to raise over $335,000 of their $200 million goal in just 2 days. So we will share the links to those organizations in the show notes, so please check them out and get involved in whatever way you can, right?
Yeah, it's been a terrible hurricane, and there's so much else going on. And as some of you guys might know, we are here in Texas, and so Houston is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. And the way that this city has been affected is crazy. I mean, not just the hurricane, but flooding from the reservoirs being let out. So it's definitely affected libraries and shelters, dog shelters, I mean, places, restaurants, all over the city. So
yeah, there's lots of ways to give back, either financially, eventually with your time. There's a lot of book drives going on to help rebuild libraries and different things. So just check that out and see where you can give back. And it is so great to see communities coming together to bridge those gaps. And this is also a really great foundation of literature. And one author who has helped bridge gaps is Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Melville House Books is publishing a new book, an installment in their Last Interview series, chronicling 6 interviews with Gabriel Garcia Marquez from the 1950s to 2006. The series offers a way for readers to reconnect with Marquez and his works and to remind us of his complexity. The series has also covered other authors from Philip K. Dick to David Foster Wallace and everyone in between. So check that out to read more.
I think this is such a great series because they have covered so many different authors and people from all walks of life, Martin Luther King Jr., lots of visionaries. So it's a cool way to see the progression of, number one, the feelings of some of your favorite authors, because things do change over the decades, right? I'm sure that his opinions on matters have shifted from the 1950s to 2006.
Yeah, it's definitely inspirational to see like the change of things. And I mean, it's over decades. So people starting out can see that you don't have to be one consistent writer. And I mean, he became a journalist later on in life, and so I think that's huge. Everything changes once you become a journalist. You're thinking about so many different stakeholders.
Right. And he was a really complex author because he wrote all these beautiful works that did bridge the gaps in communities and the minds of people. And then he had like a brief phase where he was sort of friends with Fidel Castro, but then he emerged out of that. So just check it out if you want to learn more about the complexity of his life and the evolution of his emotions.
Well, for right now, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to take a look at time travel in literature, plus more, so stay tuned.
Well, time travel has been vastly covered in literature, and science is always happy to pick apart the validity of those endeavors. In an examination of literature versus science, literature professor Simon John James and physicist Richard Bauer had a conversation for Newsweek detailing the nuances of time travel.
Einstein's theory of relativity proposes that time and space move along together, but the question has long been whether or not we can break this continuum and travel back in time. Authors have never been afraid to propose ways that we might do this, and H.G. Wells' The Time Machine was the first book to use technology for time travel, and many ideas have been put forth since then.
Yes, And Bowers picks apart the literary ideas that James puts forth from works such as A Christmas Carol, The Terminator, and other sci-fi classics, though he does agree that some form of time travel is probably in existence. Either way, authors are going to continue to challenge scientific understanding, right?
Definitely.
I love seeing all these fantasy novels that kind of just, they maybe don't have a huge science background, but they do come up with these really great ideas, and it does get people in scientific fields thinking like on the validity of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. With thinking about scientific fields is like how this might work. So there's been a lot of studies on like whether bacteria affects time travel. So we have a certain immune system, and we have great immune systems, right? I mean, we have all these antibodies working in our favor. But when you think about time travel and you think about going back in time, think about all the diseases and the plagues that we aren't ready for in our immune system here in 2017. So when you consider that, I don't think we would survive if we're going back in time. And then if we're going forward in time, then, you know, there might be an eradication of diseases, but there also might be diseases that we have no idea about. We're not ready for, and we haven't. And especially now in 2017, a lot of people aren't vaccinating their children. So most people under 30, we haven't even been vaccinated for smallpox or anything, you know?
This is so fascinating because, as you know, I'm reading Outlander, the book series, and there is a lot of time travel that happens. And Claire Fraser, the main character, she goes back in time 200 years, but she never gets sick because, and in the book, the reasoning is because she has all of these vaccines and immunities. So she's just like going around helping sick people and never getting sick. And now I'm thinking, like, is this a plot hole? And then when her boyfriend goes forward in time, like you do in time travel books, he doesn't get sick either. So I have a lot of things to talk about. Diana Gabaldon, I know you're watching, so let's talk about this, right?
Yeah,
that's
just
crazy.
Like in my mind brain, I'm just imagining like future time man's trying to come back to 2017 with the cure, you know, for future things. But then he's thinking, 2017, Zika, Ebola.
So we have so many questions about this. If you have personally time traveled and have the answers, please reach out and let us know. Okay, but seriously though, just opening the conversation about literature and bridging those gaps is really great. And sometimes it's a challenge for authors on so many levels about what happens when they're not around to communicate their wishes, especially in regards to their writings.
Well, author Terry Pratchett took matters into his own hands to ensure that his works wouldn't be published posthumously, so he literally steamrolled them.
That's right. The world unfortunately lost Pratchett back in 2015 after he finished his battle with Alzheimer's. But before he left, he made sure that his wish was taken seriously.
The deed was carried out recently at the Great Dorset Steam Fair in Tarrant Hinton, England, a celebration of steam-powered vehicles. The hard drive containing his unfinished works was destroyed. The wish fulfillment was tweeted out by Rob Wilkins, who oversees Pratchett's estate.
Now, it's so great that Terry Pratchett didn't have to do any time travel to make sure his wish was carried out. But I love that he did this. It's so symbolic because there is always this question with authors' works posthumously being published, right? We've gone through it with Harper Lee recently, and we see it all the time. So he made his thoughts very clear.
Yeah, and I know a lot of authors have asked that things not be, you know, taken into someone else's hands posthumously, but then those wishes were not protected. And so I think it's really amazing that, you know, this was protected in a magnificent way. And I think there are two debates here that we're talking about when an author passes and they have this work, and that's, you know, when someone's trying to take it into their own hands. Is it more important to preserve this work or to take the author's wish into account? Or some people, you know, profit might be more important than respecting the author's wish.
And we know how he feels, so let us know in the comments what you think. And you know what else I love about this? His wishes were first conveyed by his really good friend Neil Gaiman, who also agreed with his wishes. He thought that Neil Gaiman believes that you shouldn't have any authority on the author's work.
Neil Gaiman quoted saying that we shouldn't be greedy. And Neil and Terry Pratchett worked on a book together, The Good Omens. And I think that, you know, another serious issue here is Alzheimer's. He died at a young age of 66 due to Alzheimer's. So a lot of folks are affected by Alzheimer's. I mean, most of y'all watching have either been affected or seen someone you love be affected. So definitely check out some ways to give there.
Yes, for sure.
Well, that is a pretty boss move on Pratchett's part, I think. And it's also really inspiring to see his wishes fulfilled after his death. And you know what else is inspiring? Seeing your favorite literature women boss babes holding down the fort.
That's right. And there are some pretty strong women out there running the world right now, and we know where they get their inspiration. So today we want to bring to you our top 10 boss babes in literature that inspire us, and we hope that they can inspire you too. So enjoy.
Here are the top 10 boss babes in literature.
Number 10, Nancy Drew, the Nancy Drew book series. Since the 1930s, Nancy Drew, Girl Detective, has been tearing down our preconceived ideas of femininity. A mythic hero who has inspired such boss babes as Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Sandra Day O'Connor.
Number 9, Lucy Pevensey, The Chronicles of Narnia. AKA Queen Lucy the Valiant, the youngest of the Pevensey kids, she was Aslan's favorite, a testament to her character. Believing in Narnia far more than her siblings did, she truly left a piece of her soul in the land. Long live the Queen.
Number 8, Hester Prynne, The Scarlet Letter. Shunned by her own community, Hester Prynne takes life in stride, residing on the outside. Living in a cloud of judgment, she answers to no one and makes her own rules. Hester Prynne is one bad mama, and we mean that in a good way.
Number 7, Katniss Everdeen, The Hunger Games. Empowered by poverty, anger, rebellions, and still finding time to be the center of a love triangle is all in a day's work for Katniss Everdeen. Fierce brave to the side, Katniss is the model of a modern boss babe.
Number 6, Offred, The Handmaid's Tale. When you live in dystopian suburbia, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind, but not for Offred. Cool-witted, strong-headed, and fierce as they come, eking out her place in history, Offred is a babe with a boss mission.
Number 5, Sophia, The Color Purple. Existing within the grotesque inequality of slavery, Sophia is a speck of stardust, shedding light on those she touches. Firm in her beliefs and desires, she is unrelenting and daring. She is truly an inspirational babe for all to learn from.
Number 4, Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind. Through war, famine, heartbreak, and more, Scarlett O'Hara hiked up her dress, which she made from curtains, and inevitably navigated life, a Southern belle through and through. This babe is a great example of how to be a boss.
Number 3, Lisbeth Salander, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. With a memory to rival no other and a flair for revenge, Lisbeth Salander uses the systems in our world to her advantage. Righting wrongs and crushing the opposition, Lisbeth is a boss babe in the boldest, most brutal way.
Number 2, Hermione Granger, Harry Potter. No witch could match her wit, and no wizard could match her courage. Hermione Granger is the heart of the Harry Potter game. Without this babe, there'd be a new boss in town, and the Harry Potter series would be far shorter and much bleaker.
And at number 1, Joan of Arc. The baddest babe of all, Joan of Arc is an immortal legend. Conversing with saints and laying siege to cities were among her hobbies before she was burned at the stake for heresy. Joan of Arc is the number 1 boss babe you want on your side, in battle and in life.
So there you have it, our top 10 boss babes in literature.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed our video short, and also good morning to Terry Morgan. Please let us know in the comments who your favorite boss babe is, and don't forget to like and share this post and send us a message for a free t-shirt if you do so.
All right, and don't forget to check out ways that you can contribute to the Hurricane Harvey relief efforts. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have a great weekend. I'm Mo.
And I'm Andrea.
And we will be back on Wednesday, September 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time. We're taking Monday off to observe Labor Day, so we will not be here. But until Wednesday, keep reading, writing, and being awesome. I know we will.
Bye.
Bye.